My name is Ben Kearns. I'm a filmmaker, photographer, creator, and sometime around 2020, at the turn of the new year, Pamela Gerke, a writer, a director, she had created a musical about Florence Nightingale. And she came to me and asked if I'd be willing to work on the film with her.
I am gladdened by this vision of her watching me. She's my lover, she's my mother, my beloved, my heart.
It was right at the start of COVID, so we had this idea we'd do a film about nursing and caregiving and kind of give it as a gift to the world to celebrate the caregivers. The problem was that as we were working with the project, COVID got quite serious. This was all just as 2020 was starting up. And the actors basically mutinied and said, we're not getting in the same room with each other. It's dangerous for choirs to sing, and we would be on stages singing to each other while he's filming. Not gonna happen. So we thought, well, the project was dead. But Pamela was a very determined person and really wanted to see this piece done. And so we brainstormed. We thought about filming it on a black background, each actor individually. We thought about filming it on Zoom, but the problem with Zoom is that it had a delay, and so with the singing, it wouldn't quite match up with the dialogue. So we thought Zoom's not gonna work. And so I suggested, well, what about using green screen? So we ended up coming up with a rather novel solution. At Party Central, $5 green tablecloths. So we set up a kit and designed a filming situation where each actor could set up in their own bedroom, living room, wherever they had available, a green tablecloth on the background, and I'd bring a camera, tripod, and light that they could set up. And then remotely, Lauren Marshall, the director, and myself and Sarah, the production assistant, would watch on Zoom and direct the actors. Okay, actors, this is our basic setup. We'll have a ring light over here on the left of the camera. The camera will be right here on a tripod. Once we figured out we're gonna be in people's homes and we can't go in, we can't even be within 6 feet of them. We have to drop stuff off and kind of demo from like the distance I am to your camera now. I figured out I had to figure out a foolproof way to film. So I turned to my Sony A7 Mark III, and I put everything so it could go into a bag. So I could put this on the front porch, the tripod on the front porch, the light in a bag on the front porch, and a stand. And they were able to have everything needed to film a feature-length film.
Information's coming fast, flying high on the telegraph.
So we have a scene that we're filming, and it's 12 actors waiting on a train track for Florence to come into the station. They're all there to celebrate her. And they're gossiping, they're talking, there's all this activity going on. The problem is, we're filming individuals alone in their living rooms or bedrooms or wherever they happen to set up the camera. And we're looking at them through Zoom. And it was almost impossible to figure out where people are gonna go. So before we even filmed, Lauren drew out these storyboards so that you could see that we start and we have a telegraph operator, and then we have these people singing together, and then this character comes in. And then Lauren was able to say, Casey, Jared is to your left, so when you talk to him, look to your left. But then when you turn and you're listening to Casey, he's on your right, so you're gonna be listening this way. Without the storyboard, the actors would not know what's around them. They're in a room alone with a green screen on the wall, and we're on Zoom all the way across the city somewhere, or across the country, directing them. We wouldn't know how to direct them without storyboards, so storyboards are incredibly important. Camera rolling.
Act 2, Scene 6, Kiss Your Shadow, take 1.
Late at night, I'm in the dark and in pain.
So then, once we captured everything, there was literally months of editing and creative work to create the backgrounds, because there was nothing. We had to have a rundown hospital in Crimea. We had to have upscale 1800s home of a fairly affluent family. We had to have a battlefield and offices for the sergeant and the colonel. So we had to create all those from scratch. I went and found a shot that I had of a warehouse space, and I thought, well, this I could build into a hospital. It had windows and kind of a rough, and it looked like it could be from the 1800s, you know, because it really didn't look too specific. So then as I start building it out, I added some crates to it. So here's some crates popping in the background. Then I started adding some beds in. So here's stills taken from the movies of the various actors. We only filmed 4 actors for this scene, but we needed to have 20 or so going back into space because the idea is she's coming through this huge space. So then as I go up, you'll see that there's more actors coming in here. So then I needed to like add some tone, shadow, and then eventually I needed to change it to look like nighttime. Then when she comes in with a lantern, her warm colored lantern will look good against the bluer colored background. Very early on, we decided to do a very painterly approach, not trying to make a literal representation of the scene, but rather take some liberties. And so thus there's scenes where people are inside gilded frames. People are pictured on plates and as artwork, and then they start singing. They come out of these worlds and just begin singing. So we wanted to kind of have a whimsical and fun side to it as well. I'm really proud of this project. I think that the challenge of continuing to create during COVID, in the heart of COVID, when we couldn't even be in the same room with each other, it's very satisfying to create something, particularly out of something so negative as COVID, and to create a positive and celebration of these people, because I really believe that the nurses and the caregivers in our society deserve our total respect.